Alright, so in one of my last videos, I went over some of the top prospects in this upcoming NBA draft. And since the NCAA season started, I wanted to talk more about these prospects as this draft class is loaded with talent. Some players have quickly shown themselves to be possible top 5 picks or just intriguing prospects overall for rebuilding NBA teams. So the first player I have to mention is Yegor Demin, that is making his way into top 5 conversations in this upcoming draft. The 6'8 guard out of Russia was first noticed from the U18 Real Madrid team and regarded as a 5-star recruit, where he showed his potential at the 2024 Adidas Next Gen tournament, averaging 16 points, 8 rebounds, and close to 4 assists with 1.5 steals per game. With that, Demin was one of the main contributors that led Real Madrid to the finals of the tournament, facing against another top prospect in Nolan Traore and Paulus Franz, later winning that game in overtime. For Yegor's run on Real Madrid, he showcased his skill as a top pick-and-roll ball handler in this draft, as well as being effective as an off-ball player as a cutter and a transition scorer. But one of the biggest questions going into his freshman season for BYU was his consistency as a shooter. Though he doesn't have bad shooting mechanics, he still shot 18% from 3 during that tournament. Now, as of recently, in his first 8 games at BYU, he's improved dramatically, increasing to 38% from 3. And though this is not a big sample size right now, it's good to see such an improvement this early into the season, as the freshman has been able to play well as a point guard, averaging 6 points and almost 6 assists per game. Though this is not a big sample size right now, it's good to see such an improvement from his time at Real Madrid to now at BYU. As freshman, Yegor has been able to play well at point guard, averaging 13 points and almost 6 assists per game. Now I want to talk about one of the top guards in this past recruiting class, and that's none other than Ian Jackson, playing at North Carolina. The 6'4 guard from the Bronx definitely has the game of some of the great New York guards from back in the day. First playing for Cardinal Hayes before transferring to Our Savior Lutheran School, with his best skills being his smooth jump shot with a strong handle for a shooting guard, creating space with ease with his go-to crossover and combo moves, and setting up his teammates efficiently as well. Jackson also has good gather moves to get to the basket, as well as his athleticism helping him finish around the rim and over taller defenders. Now playing at North Carolina, he's in a crowded backcourt with senior RJ Davis and sophomore Elliot Cadeau as UNC's top players. Though as of recent, Jackson has been able to get more rotational minutes, averaging 17 points and shooting 51% from the field, as well as 46% from 3 in a 3-game span. Now going from UNC to their rivals Duke, the Blue Devils have one of the best center prospects in college basketball in Khaman Maluak. The 7'2 center from South Sudan made his name as a high school prospect at the NBA Academy Africa starting in 2021, and then playing in the Nike Hoop Summit in 2024. Though the biggest highlight of 2024 for him was being able to play for South Sudan's national basketball team in the Olympics, as Maluak was the youngest player there at 17 years old. Maluak has the potential to be a great defensive big, as he's able to help his team with well-timed blocks. Though the most impressive feat for Maluak as a prospect right now is how versatile he can be as a defender, as he has good footwork and mobility, giving him the chance of being less of a liability on the perimeter like other top interior defenders in the NBA right now. His offense though may be limited to just being a lob threat. There are some good signs though of Maluak being a floor spacer due to his fluid form, so that part of his game should come down to more reps for the big man in the future. Moving on from Maluak to his teammate Kon Knipple at Duke, who's a 6'7 freshman sharpshooter out of Wisconsin Lutheran High School, where Knipple would win the Wisconsin Mr. Basketball Award and being named Gatorade Wisconsin Player of the Year as a senior. In that season, he would lead his team to an undefeated 30-0 record and state championship, averaging almost 26 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. Now playing for Duke, Knipple has the opportunity to not only show off his skills as a shooter, but also a scorer, as his strength and his creation off the dribble puts Knipple in good situations to score from the mid-range and in the paint. Though only an average athlete, he still has some creative finishes around the rim, which now kind of puts Knipple in a tier of not only being a great shooter, but potentially being an efficient 3-level scorer. Now to talk about one of the top freshman scorers this season, Trey Johnson is playing great at Texas, averaging almost 20 points with a true shooting percentage of 60% and shooting 43% from 3 on almost 7 attempts. With one of the quickest jump shots, Trey Johnson is a tough cover for most defenders. At the moment Trey gets an advantage, he can pull up without being heavily contested by the opponent. Another great part of his offensive game is what he does at the high post. As for a guard, he has a very good post game due to his turnaround jumper, with good shot fakes and shimmies to keep the opponents guessing. Also having good triple threat moves facing up on the high post, getting to his spots on the court efficiently in only a couple of dribbles. Now with a great jumper and an improved handle from what I watched in his high school senior season at Link Academy, Trey Johnson will continue to turn heads playing for the Longhorns this season as one of the best scorers in the NCAA. So now that I finished detailing these 5 players, I'm going to go into their NBA comparison. And first I have Trey Johnson, and my best comparison for him would be Carmelo Anthony. Another player with a quick release that can pull up in front of anybody, that also has a good ISO game from the high post. Though Trey has the handles and the athleticism of a guard to be impactful in different ways on the offensive end than Carmelo. Now with the Duke teammates, I have Kamil Malewak's comparison of Jared Allen, where he has great defensive instincts and his ability to be a lob threat on offense, but unlike Allen, he also has the potential to space out the floor and become a shooter. As for Kon Knipple, he's more of a mix of Michael Redd and Nick Stauskas, both players being shooters, though Michael Redd's strength to finish around the basket over taller defenders, as well as Nick Stauskas' navigation on pick and roll plays, is where I see a lot of Kon's game in comparing those two. For Ian Jackson, his NBA comparison is OJ Mayo, both active and assertive players with deep range that has a strong handle for a shooting guard, as well as both of them having a signature crossover that they mostly use to create space for themselves. With Jackson and Mayo's finishing, they're usually similar in making contested layups around defenders, though with Ian being a little bit more athletic than OJ, he more can finish around defenders, avoiding them as well as over defenders. Lastly, with Yegor Demmin, my comparison for him is Cade Cunningham, as both of them operate well in the pick and roll and are both very balanced offensive players, as both of them are comfortable playing on ball and off ball in offense. At this point, I'm still scratching the surface of how talented this draft class is, and I'll talk more about these prospects from this class as the season goes on for the NCAA, as well as prospects overseas. So if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.